Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the High Performance Learning Parent Workshop. Thank you very much for joining us today. I think we'll make a start because it looks like most of us are here now and I want to start promptly. Again, thank you very much for joining us. We're here today to tell you a little bit about the exciting journey that GEMS Metropole have started on to becoming a high performance learning world-class school. So aims of today, as I've said, is to introduce you to the high performance learning theory and why the school have chosen to become accredited as a high performance learning school. We want to get you a little bit to understand about how high performance learning will be implemented in lessons and what that will look like with students. And we're also going to share some ideas on how HPL can be supported outside of school, because that's such an important part of high performance learning. I'm going to start you off with a couple of videos. It will, majority of the session, be myself talking to you, and there'll be some opportunities for questions at the end. But I'm just going to start you off with a couple of videos that really sort of paint a picture of what high performance learning is and why we've chosen to become a high performance learning school at GEMS Metropole. So I'll first of all show you a video by Professor Deborah Eyre, who is the professor who created high performance learning. It's based on years of her research. So I'll let her introduce you to high performance learning first.
High performance learning is for good schools who want to ensure that more of their students reach the highest standards, and at the same time they leave school ready for university, for work and for life. High performance learning takes what we know about how the most able students think and learn and converts that into a user-friendly framework that enables everyone to follow that same pathway to success. It sets out progress routes for the 20 generic characteristics that students need to develop if they are to be high performers in the cognitive domains, and 10 values, attitudes and attributes that develop the wider learner dispositions needed for cognitive and lifetime success. This provides a clear structure for student development, whilst at the same time it enables the school to customise to fit its own vision, its context and its curriculum. Based on 30 years of my research, this approach has been used in 30 different countries with fantastic success, especially when it's in the hands of competent and ambitious school leaders. High performance learning is not a programme that can be added to existing programmes, but rather a pedagogy or way of thinking that changes the culture of the school and underpins all of its work. Research tells us that far more students than we thought previously have the capacity to perform highly. High performance learning enables a school to realise that ambition and to produce year on year consistently the very highest standards for the vast majority of its students. Join us in the quest to create more world-class schools and more enterprising learners who are equipped with the confidence to face their future.
So as I mentioned, that's Professor Deborah Eyre, who is the creator of high performance learning. I just want to draw on a key point there. It talks about the fact that research now shows that in comparison to what people previously thought, more of us can perform highly if we are provided with the skills and attributes to do so. And it's about, the first thing is about setting those expectations. So it's not just about teachers, it's also about students and parents having those high expectations. And the next video that I'm going to show you, which is something called the Pygmalion effect, it's a research-based video which actually really highlights just why those expectations are so important.
In this video we are going to take a closer look at the fascinating leadership phenomenon called the Pygmalion or Rosenthal effect. It was first discovered in the classroom, but you'll find its effects everywhere. And we are going to study the Pygmalion effect using a famous army experiment. Imagine a 15-week army training course. 105 soldiers are assigned to 4 instructors. And before the course starts, each instructor is given the following message. We have collected a lot of data regarding the trainees you will receive in the coming days. It considers of psychological tests, grades from previous courses, and ratings by previous commanders. Based on this information, we have predicted the command potential of the soldiers you're going to receive. High are the great soldiers, regular the average ones, and unfortunately there is a few soldiers where we don't have any data. Please learn their names and their scores by heart before they arrive. It's important to know that at the time these 4 instructors didn't know that the classification we were given are completely random. In other words, the soldier listed as high command potential could very well be the worst soldier in the group, or vice versa. After the 16 weeks course, each soldier was tested. The outcome? Those soldiers that got marked high command potential significantly outperformed their classmates. Those with an average command potential scored the lowest, and the third group, those with an unknown performance potential, ended up in the middle. And the difference was quite big. It was 15% between the first group and the last group. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that strange? So when we believe a team member has the ability to be a great performer, our belief becomes reality. The performance expectations we have for our team members is a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's the Pygmalion effect. But how does it work? In short, as soon as the instructors believed that some soldiers had better abilities than others, they started managing those individuals differently. Raising expectations triggers a leadership process that results in superior performers. So better leadership in turn has a direct positive effect on the subordinate's performance. It kickstarts positive effects. Just imagine the extra boost you get when somebody is giving you positive attention. Leaders get the performance they expect. When we believe and expect low performance, our expectations kickstart a negative spiral that leads to low performance. But otherwise, if we can imagine everybody to be a great performer, if we apply a can-do management style to everyone in the team, when we believe our team members have what it takes to succeed, like those 4 instructors did with those soldiers with a high command potential, the chance that they will actually succeed will be much higher. So the Pygmalion effect teaches us that we have to be careful in what we believe. Most of us have the habit of labeling team members. Maria is a high performer, Joe is average, Eva reached her ceiling, and Mike is a low performer. But our labels are self-fulfilling prophecies. And for those at the end that end up in the high performance category, that's great. They'll get the leader they deserve. But for those that we categorize as average or low performer, it's not the case. Because when we don't expect greatness, our leadership style won't be either. And by doing so, we contribute to their failure. So if we want to increase our team success rate, we have to reconsider the relationship we have with all our team members, not only the ones with high command potential. We need to create a can-do environment, a place where we expect success from every team member, not only a few high performers.
Okay, I'm going to pause the video there, just carry on for a little bit, but that really highlights the point that we wanted to make. Obviously, you can see in that video that those soldiers that were expected to perform highly did perform highly. Those that were expected to be a regular performer performed the lowest. That's because they didn't really receive any attention, because they were just expected to be sort of the average soldier. That's really interesting, I think, because this study is also being conducted in classrooms since this research, and it's found to be the same And that really sort of brings me on to the different areas that high performance learning focuses on within the school. You can see this first pillar here talks about mindset shifts. So that's something that we're undertaking at the moment. Teachers and students are going through training. They have a 3-week training cycle where they focus on each of the different strands of HPL, which I'll share with you shortly, and really building up that mindset shift to make sure that we are expecting all of our students to perform highly. You can see there's lots of other areas there. Engagement of parents is a really important one, which I'm going to talk to you about shortly as well, and making sure that we involve the students so that they are part of this learning journey. It's not just something that's applied to them. So previously, you have been aware that we had something called the 5 C's at Gems Metropole. They were the learning skills that were within classrooms. With Gems Metropole choosing to become a high performance learning school, which is a really exciting journey, we're actually expanding those learning skills and providing a really clear structure so that students develop a wide range of skills that they can take forward not only at school. High performance learning is not about what they achieve just at the end of school, but these are learning skills for life. And as you see them in more detail, you'll see that they are things that we're all working on all of the time. What high performance learning does that the 5 C's didn't so much was provide a structure of progression. So for example, if you are being collaborative, what does collaborative look like in its early phases, and how do you improve on being better at collaboration? Provides a real depth and structure. So you can see here, there's actually 8 areas, but they are broken down into 30 individual learning skills within those 8 areas. So there's much more to focus on. These ones on the left-hand side, they are your learning skills. They're called ACPs. And on the right-hand side in blue, they are your learning behaviors. They are called values, attributes, and attitudes. So you have 5 of the overarching areas, which are learning skills, and 5 learning behaviors. And these are something that we're trying to develop in students to give them that opportunity to perform highly and really reach their potential. High performance learning is a lot about removing the word ability. It's not, you're not born with a limit on your potential. And it's about framing it as the word potential. If you work hard and you are provided a structure with all of these learning skills, that you can perform highly. It's not that you are born with a limit. So I just touched on a little bit the journey that the school are taking. So you'll see here, this is a cycle that we're currently on. So there's 3 weeks where teachers will have training. They'll implement that training into their planning. And then the students will have 3 weeks in their lessons focusing on that learning skill. So far we've done meta thinking, we've moved on to hard working, and the teachers are preparing for that linking session shortly. Then after those 3 weeks, it will feed back into 3 weeks in the lessons. So the students will have 3 weeks where they focus on them, and then they'll move on to the next one. So it's a real depth and structure so that students really understand what those learning skills are and how they can use them to support them within their learning. It's not separate lessons, it's within their curriculum lessons, focusing on their curriculum. So for example, if they were using meta thinking, it would be meta thinking in English, meta thinking in maths, meta thinking in PE. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what that might look like. So here, we've got a few examples. This is an introduction to meta thinking that they used in the infant school. So the students played a game of tic-tac-toe. Once they'd played that tic-tac-toe for a while, they were asked to reflect on who was successful, why were you successful? If you were to improve next time, what would you do better? Because meta thinking is all about planning strategies, self-regulating. And what we do here is we provide the students with a hook or a link that they understand, something that is relatable for them and that they can apply later in their lessons. So when they are required to be meta thinkers in their curriculum lessons, they can refer back to this tic-tac-toe game and be like, right, in the tic-tac-toe game, I planned a strategy. I reflected on what went well and what didn't, and they would then be encouraged to apply that within their curriculum lessons as well. Just a little example here from year 6 maths of where they did a little linking activity, which matched to the maths lesson later on where they were required to identify links between multiplication problems.
Let's go for this then. Sophia, go. What did you find out?
One purple heart plus two purple heart because gift.
Yeah.
So two purple hearts equals 2 gifts.
2 gifts. Why do you think that? What connection did you find?
Because 1 and 1 equals.
Yeah.
So the students there are finding connections between the emojis, and connection finding is one of the linking skills. Later in the lesson, they were asked to find connections between multiplication and division problems. So it trains the students in the skill at the start of the lesson. Later, they apply that skill to their curriculum lesson. So they see all the time the relevance and the purpose of why they're learning to do this particular skill. Here's some examples of just some reflection time. So sometimes the students are asked to reflect in their lesson on what learning skill helps them and how it helps them. So you can see one here that comments on linking and what they had to link within their learning. That's just a nice opportunity for them to pause and reflect, to really reflect on why those learning skills are helping them and develop them as high-performing learners. Okay, and lastly, how can you guys help at home? I can't emphasize enough the importance of that. So there's just some top tips here, but this is going to be followed by, in the newsletter, there'll be, every time the teachers have training on a new HPL skill, there'll be guidance for how you can support that skill at home as well. So really, really basic to start off with this is, so expect your child to have the ability to achieve highly and show them that you have confidence in them. So that's you setting those high expectations. Praising your child for effort, encouraging a growth mindset, not necessarily on attainment, praising them for what they achieve, but praising them for their efforts. So well done for having a go, or sticking to it, or you're so much better than you used to be. That's going to build that high performance learning mentality. It's all about, if it's not I can't do it, it's I can't do it yet. So it's about building that growth mindset. Encouraging curiosity, helping your child develop empathy. Empathy is one of the HPL skills. Talk and read with your child and help them connect up ideas, just help them to see the links between different books. Give them responsibility. Don't worry if they make mistakes. High performance learning is all about encouraging mistakes, because that's the first stage of learning. Establishing a regular time to talk. So it might just be sitting down at meal times, reflecting on the day, or maybe in the car. And show them that you like learning as well. Show them that you learn on a daily basis, because we all do. And that will really encourage that growth mindset as well. So I'm happy to take any questions. This is very much a basic introduction. We will be providing some coffee mornings where we talk about the different HPL skills and how you can support them at home. But thank you very much for joining the session. I really appreciate it. And I'll be responding to any of the questions that are in the chat now.